boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, CFL Week 14 is upon us. NFL Week 1, NCAA College Football Week 2. Whew, lots going on here, plus NASCAR, plus pro wrestling. Lots coming to Robert Sports Show over the next three or 4 months. So yeah, definitely stay tuned. Whew, yeah. Alright, Week 14. Week 13, 2-2 on straight up picks, 1-3 against the spread, 2-2 on the over/under. It's bringing our year-to-date total down. There's been some unique upsets, I would call them. Like if you look back on Week 13, Winnipeg losing to Saskatchewan, that's an upset. Let's see, what's the other big one here? See, BC, I had Montreal beating BC, which I was wrong on that. We had over on the 50 points for Toronto and Hamilton. Probably should have saw that one coming. We were over on the 46 for Calgary and Edmonton. Probably should have saw that one coming. I mean, it wasn't a horrible week, but you know what? We're going to try to do better. Year to date, we were 34-17. Against the spread, 27-24. We're struggling on the over/under at 22-29. Which is 83-70 year to date, which is 54.2%. Unfortunately, that kind of puts us in par what we did with the USFL and the XFL earlier this season. We were about 50% on both of them. I'd like to be closer to 60, so I need to work on that. Alright, the first game that we're going to work on here is the 4-7 Hamilton Tiger Cats taking on the 3-8 Ottawa Redblacks. Hamilton averaging 20.7 points a game while giving up 27.4. Redblacks scoring 22.8, giving up 25.7. On the road this year, Hamilton is 3-2. They're 2-5 in the division, while Ottawa is 2-3 at home, 0-5 in the division. Week 5, Hamilton won 21-13. Week 8, Hamilton won 16-12, and that was in Ottawa. In the last 5 games, Tiger Cats are 2-3. In the last 10, Tiger Cats are 4-6. While Ottawa is on a 5-game losing streak, 0-5 in the last 5, 3-7 in the last 10. The line on this game was Ottawa by 3. On a 5-game losing streak, even though they're at home and Hamilton just beat them at home during that 5-game losing streak, no. Hamilton plus 3. 47.5 is the point spread. They did 34 in the first game and 20 on the second game, so I have to go under. What's this be a blowout game? Watch me be totally wrong about that, but I got Hamilton plus 3 and then under on the 47.5. Next up, we have the 1 versus 2 in the East, the 6-5 Montreal Alouettes versus the 9-1 Toronto Argonauts. 24.1 points a game is what Montreal is scoring this year. They're giving up 23.6, while Toronto is scoring 34.8 and giving up 23.4 on the average. Week 6, Toronto won 35-27. This is the first of back-to-backs with these two teams. Next week, Week 15, they are in Montreal. So these two teams are really going to get to know each other. It's really going to make a difference in the East Division. Obviously 1 versus 2 here. On the road, Alouettes are 3-2, 4-1 in the division, so they're really good in the East Division. Toronto, though, at home, undefeated 5-0, 5-0 in the division. Tiger Cats are just El Fuego right now. They won 3 straight, 4 of 5, 9 of 10, while the Alouettes have lost 2 straight. They're 3-2 in their last 5, 5-5 in their last 10. Toronto's actually favored by 10.5 at home. Based on that game in Week 6, it's only 8-point differential. So I got Toronto winning, Montreal covering that 10.5. Because that score was so high, I am going to go ahead and go over on the 51.5. Obviously, we'll adjust that for next week in Week 15. Next up, we have the 1 versus 3 in the West. We have the 9-3 Winnipeg Blue Bombers hosting the 6-5 Saskatchewan Roughriders. Saskatchewan scoring 22 points a game, giving up 27.4, while the Blue Bombers are scoring 31.6 on the average and giving up 24.1. On the road, the Roughriders are 2-3, 5-3 in the division. Blue Bombers at home are 5-1, 6-2 in their division. Week 2, Winnipeg won 45-27 in Saskatchewan. Week 13, the Roughriders won in Saskatchewan 32-30. This game is in Winnipeg. Winnipeg is 4-1 in the last 5, 8-2 in the last 10. But Saskatchewan has actually won 2 straight, 3-2 in their last 5, 5-5 in their last 10. Winnipeg is favored by 7.5. I'm looking at that Week 13 game, 32-30. I know it's like that first game was kind of a blowout. Winnipeg is favored by 7.5. So that's the one's like you either gotta go, okay, it's going to be only a touchdown. You go with Saskatchewan covering, or you know what, Winnipeg's going to cover it. They're going to win by double digits. You're going to call it good. You know what? I'm going to change that on the fly. When I do that, I always screw it up. I got Winnipeg winning. I got Winnipeg covering. So it's going to be at least by 7.5, so at least by 8. And then over on the 48.5. So Winnipeg covering and over on the 48.5. And then that fourth and final game, we have the 4-8 Calgary Stampeders going up against the 2-10 Edmonton Elks. Edmonton 2-10 in their last 10, or 2-8 in their last 10, 2-3 in their last 5. Stampeders 2-3 in the last 5, 3-7 in the last 10. Calgary's given up 27 points a game by scoring 23. But Edmonton's given up 26.2 and scoring 18.2. In the division, Edmonton's 0-7. They're 1-5 at home. While Calgary is 2-4 on the road and 2-5 in the division. Week 13, Calgary won 35-31. The line on this game is Edmonton by 1.5. The fact that they're 0-7 in the division and that 1-5 at home, even though Calgary's not much better, giving Calgary the 1.5, I got them winning, covering, and over on the 48.5. So that's Hamilton +3, cover or +3, under on the 47.5. Toronto -10.5. Montreal covering that 10.5, over on the 51.5. Winnipeg Blue Bombers winning, covering on the 7.5, and over on the 48.5. And then the Calgary Stampeders +1.5, over on the 48.5. So that is week 14 of CFL. So make sure you check out NFL Week 1 here on Robert Sports Show, and then coming soon, NCAA College Football Week 2. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day, have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.